All right, guys. So, late breaking news. It's been announced via Twitter, and I'm sure all social medias at this point through the National Wrestling Alliance that the Vice President of Operations, David Lagana, has stepped down from his role with the company. And I'm speechless to say the least. We know that Lagana was responsible for producing the NWA Power. We know that David Lagana was responsible for um, the creating the 10 Pounds of Gold series that brought Tim Storm to the forefront and showcased the Aldous Crusade and led the way to the all-in event that featured Cody versus Nick. In fact, the announcement says, pursuant to the allegations made by a former pro wrestler on her Twitter account, June 18th, 2020, the NWA VP David Lagana has resigned his position effective immediately. As well as all production of NWA content is temporarily halted pending a restructuring of executive management positions. So, what that means is that effective immediately, there is no more NWA content. The NWA had been on hiatus due to COVID-19 and orders to shelter and stay. The Crockett Cup 2020 event was canceled. No further TV tapings have happened. Currently, the NWA was offering programming through its Patreon account as well on YouTube, where it was offering podcast mixed in with a little bit of scripted content. So you would have shows like What's Causing Aldous, a podcast by our world's heavyweight champion, Nick Aldis, Inside the NWA, which featured Joe Galley speaking to both wrestlers inside and outside the NWA, talking about either what's going on currently or speaking about the history of the NWA. There was Girl Power, which featured it was an empowerment series to celebrate women in wrestling and women in, really, it seems like women in all sports. And then, of course, there was the Eli Drake Show, which was a podcast by the Eli Drake. And then lastly, it was Carneyland. Carneyland was a scripted show, and they were currently in the process of determining who would be the mayor of Carneyland. Now, I see some of you guys asking what comes next, and I'll be honest, I don't know. I think it would be irresponsible for me to speculate on these things right now. I'm kind of bummed out, guys. I've been a very stout supporter of the National Wrestling Alliance, dating back to 2006 and even beyond that. We've covered the National Wrestling Alliance for over, I guess 14 years. Is that right? No. Whatever. It's not important. What's important is that this is a pretty bad day for the NWA. It's a black mark for professional wrestling in general. As always, I root for justice. I root for integrity, and I root for people being kind to one another. So I'm going to leave it at that. Of course, for all late breaking news, please visit alliance-wrestling.com. We will still be reporting on the entirety of the NWA. And yeah, what a day, guys. Like I said, I don't want to make this into something that's not. We'll see what comes next. Yeah. Stay tuned.